Hi everyone, I'm Karen Combs and welcome to my FlossTube. It is September 28th, it is Saturday, and this is FlossTube number 37. I think last time I said that was 37 and it wasn't, it was 36. No idea how that happened because I always write down on my notepad ideas for the next FlossTube, what number it is, all of those things. I don't know. I did that one time as well and didn't catch it, and I think there are two 18s. So this one is really number 37. And it might be a long one. I got a lot to share today. Probably going to have to retool a couple times. But I'm going to be showing you what I've been working on for Sampler September. I'm going to show you some new starts. I'm going to show you some stuff in that basket that we didn't get to last time. I'll show that. And we have the drawing for the quilts. So let's just get right into it. We are getting the remnants of the hurricane, so it is gloomy and raining. And when I got ready to do the FlossTube, I was thinking, oh, I actually think I was having a good hair day. And then I looked in the mirror and went, no, it's naturally curly. It just does, or wavy. It does what it does, especially when it's humid. So there we go. But let's get right to it. Had a couple of corrections from last time, and in the description, I will always list things with, a lot of times with links. So if I can't remember something or can't remember where I bought something or I need to correct something, it will be in the show notes. One correction was the number, not that that's really important, but this is 37, not last time. And I mentioned a wonderful stitch along, the Bristol stitch along that Judy Hall is doing, and I think she's got quite a few people joining her. I'm really enjoying seeing all of their stitching. It's the Hope and Love stitch along. That's a Hands Across the Sea pattern. I think I mentioned that the pattern was free. I was mixing it up with something else. The stitch along obviously is free, but the link to the chart is in last time's video, and it's available as a PDF. I believe I think I saw it a few places as a booklet. Check the description from last time, because I put, I think Traditional Stitches in Canada may have it, but it is available as a PDF. So they just finished their first month, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing. I am not participating in that because I am working on Harriet Salt, and I just couldn't start another big Bristol. So I'm cheering them on, kind of doing my side stitch along with them. So I'm working on that. We also had, there's a couple of things I want to mention before I forget. I didn't show this one last time because I was waiting on the silks. I'm sorry, crinkle. And I've got so many things around me here. This is, and I think this is new, fairly new. This is by Lottie Da, One Stitch at a Time. And I ordered this recently, and then I decided that I wanted to do it in the Vikki Clayton silk pack, or the silks. But let me show you the chart first, and then I'll show you why I'm showing it. So there it is. And the verse on it says, beautiful things come together one stitch at a time. It's got birds, it's got beautiful trees, it's got flowers, it's got a house. Just love it. The stitch count, 191 by 119. And it is using DMC or weeks. Actually, it looks like there's one DMC with the weeks. Let me just show you that real quick. So I wanted to do it in the silks, and so I went to the Vikki Clayton website And I'm going to put a link, let me make a note, that there is something they call the knowledge base. And if you want to convert something, she has the list of the hand-dyed floss or the DMC and how it corresponds. So I did my own conversion, and here they are. So I wrote down the numbers of the DMC as well as the hand-dyed, and then just did corresponding. And I'm sure Vikki would put together a silk pack if you contacted her. I've done that in the past, and she gets back to you very quickly. So that I wanted to mention because there is going to be a stitch along for that. One Stitch at a Time by Lottie Da, and it is with the Across the Pond Sit, Stitch, and Chat. And I know I've talked about them before, and I'll put a link, make a note there. They are a Facebook group, but then they meet once a month, and it's quilters from everywhere, mostly UK, United States, but we have Australian quilters, stitchers, sorry, I have quilts in the mind because we have a giveaway. It's stitchers from the US, the UK, Australia, Ukraine, everywhere. And it's once a month. I believe it's the second Saturday. So if you join the Facebook group, Across the Pond Facebook group, then they'll have all the information. It's free to participate. It's 2 hours. I have not been able to do it for the last few months, but I'm looking forward to doing it again. And they were posting about vote for your favorite chart that will do a stitch along, and I had just purchased this. So of course I voted for that, and then I went ahead and got the silks. So I'm all set. I don't know what kind of linen. It's calling for wheat by Fiber on a Whim on 36 count. So I've got the silks. I'll pull the linens, but that starts in January, so you have plenty of time, and I believe it's also available as a PDF, so you can get it as that. So wanted to share that. And the other thing, while I'm talking about Vikki Clayton, sorry, I'm trying, there we go, to reach everything. A lot of the silks, a lot of the charts have silk packs, but you can convert your own. But this month is starting a new round. It's not a new club, but it's new round of, not really a club, but anyway, it's a fiber of the month. So if you go to the Vikki Clayton website, and I will put a link for that too, make a note. If you go there and in the search box, just type in month, it'll pop up. There are two. It's the variegated one that's starting its new sequence, starting with the fiber of the month for the variegated floss, the first pack. Now the variegated silk corresponds with hand-dyed floss. So I just ordered the first one, and you can just get one, or you can get it every month. And you can email Vikki. It'll say there on the website what to do. Email her, let her know you want to be part of the ongoing, I won't say club, but ongoing fiber of the month. And it's 15 of the bobbins, and it's $30, so it works out to $2. So this is the first one, and here it corresponds to, and I printed this out from the website so I would have it, but you can see that's just, I was keeping track there. But what I did also on her website is she has a list of, it's the hand-dyed floss in alphabetical order that corresponds with her silks. So here it is for me. And then what I'm doing is, as I'm getting the silks, I'm just highlighting what I have. So I can keep track, and then I can also keep these together. But that way, you know, library science, everything we categorize. So that just helps me keep organized. But there is the variegated, which corresponds to the hand-dyed, and there is the solid, which corresponds to the DMC. And I'm not sure, I don't believe the DMC is starting over, but you can join any time, and if you keep track, then you'll know when the cycle is up. So anyway, I thought, well, I use her silks a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and get it monthly, and she will send I think it's a PayPal invoice, and you pay for it, and off you go. And I think you can at any time stop if you want to. But anyway, this is the first one, and it looks like it's got some weeks, some classic color works. Did I say that correctly? Gentle Arts. So there it is. I just got this the other day, and I know that I think there's a little bit of time before they move to the second one. So I wanted to mention that as well. I had someone ask me the difference between the 103s and the Vikki Clayton silk, and I think I'll talk about that right now. Then we'll go into the stitching. I have used quite a few silks. I am no means an expert. This is just the research I've done and my personal observations. Cathe Ray is an expert, all things threads. I'm going to list her website. I've done that before, but I always look at her FlossTubes, her interviews, information on her website for any information, because she is the expert. I know she did an interview with Nicola Parkman, a couple of them, just so much information. So I wanted to mention that because these are just my observations. I have used 103s. In fact, can you see it? Yes, Sarah Milthrop right up there. She was done with 103s, and I'll be showing you some things done in Vikki Clayton. So both of them are beautiful silks. I love working with both of them. They both have a wonderful sheen. They both are spun silk. So those are all the same. I think it's just a matter of which you like to work with. It really is personal choice. Let's look at the 103. It comes on a spool like this, and it's about, well, it's 50 meters, which is about 55 yards. And when I looked it up the other day, it's $4.30 for the spool, which works out to be about 8 cents per yard. Just checking my notes here. Here is the Vikki Clayton silk. It comes on a bobbin. Let me go back. This is a single strand. The Vikki Clayton in the variegated will be 6 strands. And did I tuck that up there? Let me see. Oh, here we have a piece of both. I don't want to mix those up. There you go. So you can see these are the strands, and you just pull them apart. I tend to keep them on the bobbin and keep them in a box, which we've shown before. I have other friends that they put them on floss drops, put them in floss away bags, whichever you prefer. The solid, let me go back to this. This is 5 yards, 6 strands, so that works out to be 30 yards. It's 10 cents a yard. I didn't work out the price on that. Now the solid floss, which corresponds to the DMC, is 8.7 yards, which is the same, I believe, as a DMC skein. So it's 8.7 yards for 6 strands, works out to be just over 52 yards. And I didn't work out the corresponding with the prices on that. But these are very close in price. Let me see if I can do this. Here is the, let me see. I don't want to mix these up. This is the 103. These are similar colors. This is the, I'm going to put them side by side. This is the 103. The 103 is just a tad thinner. Let's see if I can, there we go. This one that I'm moving is the 103, and this one that I'm moving is the Vikki Clayton. You can see they're very, very similar as I hold these up and look at them. The DMC, the 103 is just a tad thinner. So those are the differences, similarities. They are both, let me go back, there are different kinds of silk. The ones that I have used, checking my notes here, NPI, which I did not pull Dorcas Haynes, but I am doing Dorcas Haynes with this. It's a softer silk. In fact, you might even be able to see that. It is a little bit softer silk. That's just how it's done. Nope, I am wrong. The Gloriana, Soie and Gloriana are the softer silk. They're classified as soft. There is flat, soft, low twist, twisted, and pearl. So I know I'm probably giving you way more information than you want, but if you've ever felt or worked with Soie and you think this feels a little softer, you're right. It is a softer silk. Then there is low twist, which Dinky Dyes are a low twist, and the MPI is a low twist. The 103 and the Vikki Clayton are twist. Some of the other things, silks that are twist, there's quite a few brands that I don't recognize using. If you're a needle pointer, you will know that. But the ones that I recognize, 103 and the Vikki Clayton. So those are some of the differences. I know if you've worked with, say if you've worked with the NPI, which is wonderful for satin stitches. And I was reading about them, and it's not recommended, but it was mentioned that satin stitches look beautiful with the NPI. So I am just getting into the satin stitches with Dorcas Haynes, and mine aren't beautiful yet, but I'm working on it. So those are the differences and similarities between the Vikki Clayton and the 103. Very similar. 103 is just a tad thinner. So if you're working on a higher count, that might be something to think about. Although I'm using the Vikki Clayton on 46 with no problem. So it's going to be personal choice. But I did have that question, and I'm going to put in the description a few links, because some of you may want to read about that a little more, because I know it's hard when I'm just giving information. You want to read it. So I'm going to put some links in there that you can do some of your own looking at that. Okay, so let's move on. Move my silks there. Let's move on to, I have been working on quite a few samplers for Sampler September. And Harriet Salt, I pulled her back out when Judy announced the Hope and Love SAL. And here is Harriet Salt. I'm doing that on 56 count. I think it's parchment. I know I've talked about that before. And I am doing her in a combination of Soie. That's the lighter color you're going to see, and the 103. So these are the two colors that I'm using. And what I decided, because First of all, I like to work on her, because it's 56 count, first thing. In the afternoon, I tend not to work on Harriet in the evening. I like to do it when I first start stitching. My eyes are a little fresher. And I've worked on her and then I just put her back. And for me, I think I have found how I can get quite a bit done on her. She's right on my table. Everything's there. And when I sit down to stitch, not for just a couple minutes, but when I have some time to stitch, I do 1 or 2 letters and then set her aside and go on to what I wanted to stitch. And I am amazed at how much I have gotten done. So here is Harriet. Let's see. Yeah, it's blown out the color. I'll back up. But I think I was on the 2nd line, or maybe the middle of the 3rd line. But by working on her just a letter or so, maybe not every day, but every couple days, look how much I've gotten done. And I have personalized this by putting our initials in the darker, in the 103. So there she is. That's probably a pretty good representation of the color. So really pleased with how she's looking. And I just found for me, I can't work on her a long time. I just can't. So this has been perfect. So she's getting done. I also worked on, had this all organized. It doesn't look like it, does it? All right, it was Marianne Kopp, and I spent quite a bit of time on her this month. Marianne Kopp, 1839 by Brenda Juvet with a needle and thread. And this sampler, to me, is, as I'm working on it, it's almost like 3 samplers in one. You've got the cartouche up here, and then you've got this middle area with the berry basket and the trees, and then you've got this beautiful house and lawn and just all kinds of things, the fence, and then you've actually 4, because then you've got the beautiful, the border. It is so beautiful, so elegant. I'm probably going to work on her when I finish today. Even though I was working on something else, I pulled her out. And I stopped because I'm on the house. And I thought that's going to be a good something to work on when I go to the Great British Sampler Museum, Great British Sampler Retreat. Oh, I'm mixing up my words today. So I thought, well, I can get it to a point where I'm working on the brick or filling in or something. Here are the colors. And they are, I think they're Classic Colorworks Weeks. There might be a DMC. I think there's one DMC. No, they look kind of ratty on me. Just, oh, it's so pretty. Did quite a bit on her. And this is on, I think it's 36 count, Under the Sea Amaryllis, which I know is hard to find. I think if you did, is it Milk and Honey? And then there's Cream and Sugar. Check those. Cream and Sugar might work because it's kind of a white base with a little bit of yellow cream. Check those too, because this does have a little bit of yellow in it. Now, let's see if I can stand up. Having real trouble today with my knee. There we go. So I had a few little places in the border that I had to finish. I think there was a flower that I hadn't filled in and a leaf, or I think I did the birds. Started on the tree, got the berry basket done, and here is the house. And I did change, let me back it up. I did change the house color. It called for Clockwork Orange. I changed it to Carolina Cecil, which is just a little darker. Here it is. And there is nothing wrong with Clockwork Orange, or I think it's Clockwork. Yeah, it's just called Clockwork. But I just wanted the house to be a little darker. So I'm doing this Carolina Cecil, and it had white mortar, which is beautiful. But after doing Live on Little by Plum Street, the mortar is just a little different color than the bricks. And when you put that mortar in, everything melded together and looked beautiful. And I wanted that effect. Rather than seeing bricks and mortar, I wanted to see the house. So what I decided to do is I looked at the colors that we're already using, and I decided to do the mortar in Chickpea. And I'll hold that up again so you can see. Let me get those two. All right, so here's the house, here's the mortar. And then Blue Corn is the color of the windows and the roof. So the only thing I added was this darker orange. So let me hold that up again so you can see. Can you see that? Yes. Let me stand up so I can see. So I worked quite a bit this month on Marianne. And I'm thinking, you know, I've got the border left to do. I've got one of the trees. Of course, all of that's going to take a while, but I might be optimistic to say half done, but maybe, I don't know, that's probably optimistic. I don't know. So I might spend some more time on her this month, and I'll certainly be working on her in October when I go to the Great British Sampler Weekend. What else did I work on? You saw this. This is Milady's Needle, M. Woods, 1759. And this is a Norfolk sampler. And these are the colors. You've seen this little drawer. It's in a little cabinet, but it fits 103s perfectly. So it's just a 2-drawer little cabinet I've shown before. One drawer has the Harriet, is it not Harriet? Hannah Campbell? I haven't even pulled her out. But those silks, and then I put M. Woods in this one, so I can keep them all together. So it's 103s and then Belsois. I think that's right. Yes. Which, there's one color that when I kitted it, they were out of, or it was hard to get. I can't remember now, but I asked Jean at the attic what to do, and she recommended the Belsois. So I'm always going to do what Jean recommends, because, oh, she is such an inspiration. But here it is. So I've got the first couple rows done. There is some over one. I'm just working on that. And it's 46 count, and I don't remember the linen. I want to say Thornfield, but let me see if I'm right. Yes. Oh, should have not second guessed myself. So worked on M. Woods this month. And I do have a couple of starts. Well, M. Woods was one of the starts. And I think they're over there. I'll show you the starts in a minute, but I also pulled out, I worked on samplers so much, and the weather has changed just a little bit here. And so I just felt like it was fall. And I always love working on Hook Run Hollow when it's fall. So I pulled that out, and that's kitted with all these colors of DMC. Oh, there's a bunch of them. But I finished, I believe I'm finished. I think I have to do the eye or the beak of the birds, but I finished block 4 and did a couple more of the boxes and just started on box 8, which is right underneath box 4. So there we go. So there's houses of Hawk Run Hollow. Love this. It takes a while. Any of you that have worked on them, it's deceptive. How long? That's on 40 count platinum, by the way. Oh, just love this. The linen. Oh. So I will be working on that in October. Let me set that aside. Okay, where? I know I just had it. Okay. It was right here. All right, let me see. Actually, I think what we're going to do, because I want to show you, I think I have 3, maybe 4 starts beside M Wood. Let me retool. And I also have, remember that basket? I've got that to show. So I'll be right back. We're going to take a look at the basket. And then I will show you what I started in Sampler September. But a couple of things I need to mention. Of course, now I'm thinking I was going to do it in a logical order. I do want to thank you, and I should have done this at the beginning because it's extremely important. I want to thank all of you that left comments about my Sarah Milthrop. You can see she's hanging up, and I will probably be taking her to Hobby House. Several people have asked to see her. So thank you for all your comments. There were some wonderful words of wisdom. There were some stories that people told. It was very heartwarming, and I appreciate it so much. And I'm not going to get into all of it. You can watch last time's video about it. But for now, I think I'm going to leave her just as she is. Before I noticed that I had missed the top leaves of the tree, I remember getting it from the framer, looking at it, and thinking, look how beautiful the linen looks against all of the silk. And now I know what I was seeing. I was seeing that little bit of emptiness where those leaves should have been, yet what I saw was the beauty of the linen, which is Thornfield by Needle and Flax, 46 count. So you know what? For now, I'm going to leave her just as she is, and thank you for all of your lovely comments. And I also want to thank, I had a few people that gave me a shout out and some lovely encouragement. Narissa, Stitching Lifestyle. I love your floss tube. So full of such beautiful samplers and stitching, and thank you, Narissa, for your kind words, and also Holly of Hobbies of Holly. Love your floss tube as well. Thank you for those lovely words of encouragement. I appreciate it. So let's look at this basket, because what I ran out of time last time was, these were the things I was considering starting for Sampler September. So what did I start? Well, let me just show you some of the things I was considering, and then I'll show you what I started. This is La-Di-Da, Flowers for Beatrice. I do not have the floss for this, or pulled. It uses Weeks and DMC or DMC. And it's done on 32 count, but I would probably do it in a little higher count. So I thought about that. I love this little basket down here. So I thought about that. Also thought about, or I should say am thinking about, because September's not over yet. And if I say thought about, then you won't know which one I started. So let's just say am thinking about Jane Stanwyck, 1843 by Samplers Revisited. Look at that beautiful house, the alphabet, the flowers. Does it have a verse? No. It does not have a verse. It has alphabets. I just love so much about it. The big house, the symmetry. Love that. That's done 36 count pecan butter, which I do not have, but I can substitute. And it's done with either MPI or DMC. So have not kitted that, but do love that one. Do love that one. That isn't even correct. I love that one. This is another one, Victorian Rose Needle Arcs, Emma Styles, which I haven't pulled any floss, but I love that as well. When I was down in Florida in January, I went over to Victorian Rose Needle Arts and saw the original sampler, and I fell in love with it, so that's why I got the chart. So that's another one I'm thinking about. You've seen this one, Erica Michaels' Constant Companion, and it's the verse down here, which I just love. And I know some of you have started. I've seen several floss tubers that have started. Here's the colors that I've pulled. And it's the verse on that smaller one, which was done on silk gauze. So I haven't decided. I do have some silk gauze. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it on the silk gauze. I'm kind of nervous about that. But it's got just a lovely verse, which I've read to you before. I love that one too. All right, I'm gonna tuck that away. Oh, there's another contender. This is Emily, I'm pronouncing that wrong, Kelwar by Hands Across the Sea. Such an unusual sampler with the blue alphabet and then all of the colorful motifs below there. So I like that one as well. And I pulled the DMC for that. But when I was placing an order for something else, I went ahead and got the silk pack because I think it will be really stunning with all of those motifs done in silk. And it is charted a 28 count up to 56 count. And I was just looking to see if there's any specialty stitches. Oh, there are not. So those of you that stitch on Aida, you can do it. So that's beautiful. Big contender. Which am I gonna choose? Maybe more than one. This was an exclusive with Acorns and Threads. And it was an exclusive through the Homespun Needlework group on Facebook. I know we've talked about that before. This is Rose Hill Farm by Stacy Nash. Oh, I love that. And here's the linen. It's all kitted. And what is that with? I don't see it right off the bat. Is it written on there? It probably is, but I don't want to open it up. And here's the weeks. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, look at the house. So I'm sure, and I don't know this positively, but I'm sure that will be made available for sale to the general public at some point. This was earlier this year, so it may be sometime next year. Boy, that one's calling me. These all are. That's the problem. And some of these you've seen, I know, because I've shown them because I just ordered them, but I shouldn't say I haven't started it because I don't want you to know what I started yet. This is Ann Johnson, 1832. This is an exclusive with traditional stitches. And I have seen several people working on that on Instagram. Here's the silks. And I know a few videos ago I pulled different linens. I'm still thinking about the bee's knees that I showed you for that. I think that that would be really pretty. So that's another one for Sample September, which we still have a few days. This one was an exclusive, but you can get it now. This is Ann Kirby by Needlework Press. And I know I got this one at Hobby House. I love that yellow house. And there's two different kinds of trees. I mean, it's not symmetrical, which is kind of fun. I purchased the silk pack for this. So here are the silks. I have not pulled linen yet, but here's the original right there. I saw this at Hobby House, and actually I didn't pick it up, and right before I left for the airport, I went back and got it because I just loved it. Pull some that. This one, what is the problem? I've got the linen pulled and the silk. Just not enough hours in the day. This is running with needles and scissors. This is Sarah Rickman. Look at that. I know I've seen this on Instagram as well. And here's the linen. I know I pulled, I don't even know what I pulled here. What is this? 40 count straw. Oh, I think that's actually a really good option. And here's, this would be a good one to try silk on because there aren't very many colors. So I've already got the silk, so let's see. There's six silks, or 6 colors. Is it also charted for DMC? It is not. It's charted with Vikki Clayton silks. So I've got that all set. Should I start that one? You guys want to keep going? There's a lot of choices, and these aren't even, this isn't all of it. This is just what spoke to me. Ann Chilton, I know I've seen, I think Brenda just finished this or is close to finishing it. And Tara Sullivan, I think she's finished it. I know others have. This is by Scarlet House. It's charted in DMC or Belle Soie. I love that. I saw that also at Hobby House and just fell in love with it. So what did I pull for linen? It's all kitted. Vellum. Oh, that's pretty. So I've got, it's a little, I know that's pretty light. Dusty Road Seraphim is what it's called for. But I pulled this vellum, and there's the DMC. And oh look, I also have the silks. Now, when I pull DMC, I just put it back in my cabinet and do make a note of what I've pulled, so that'll just go back in there. I guess I pulled it and then decided to get the silk pack. This one I got from Country Sampler. I had them kit it. It's by Samplers Remembered. Prudence Peering, 1882. I love this one too. And they kitted it with baked clay, 40 count, and looks like Weeks, General Arts, and Classic Colorworks. Look at the colors. Oh. I have jokingly thought to myself, I said, well, you know, how many days are in September? 30. I should start a sampler every day, and that might get through this basket. I didn't do that, but I thought about it. This is another one I pulled, and oh, look, I have it all kitted. It's Ann Miller, 1818, by Needlework Press. I just love that little marking sampler. It's so sweet, and just the two colors. It's just, what is the gold for? Oh, probably the hem stitching. So the letters are done in Rum Raisin by Weeks, and then the color for the hem stitching. And the linen is straw, 36 count straw. So that one, so sweet. There's that one. This one I just downloaded. You saw it. It's available now. It wasn't exclusive. It is Mary Gibson. This is, let me see if I can pull these out. I downloaded two from Wild Iris Knapp's website. The Mary Gibson, not Gibson, Gibson. Mary Gibson, 1882. The two houses. This was an exclusive. Now it's available. And there's also a corresponding Mary's Drum. So both of those are available as PDFs. You can get it now. I missed it the first time, so I was glad it became available. And here's the silk pack. I gotta get busy, huh? I gotta get busy tackling some of these, but you know what? It's fine. It's all good. It's all good. And I'll tell you in a little bit why I say that. So I have 3 more to show you, and then I'll show you, well, let me just go through this first. This was an exclusive. It is not available yet. I'm sure it will be. I don't know that for sure, but I'm sure it will be. From the Heart Needle Art. It's Mary Jewel, 1853. This was one of the exclusives for the Homespun group. And looks like it's all kitted with Weeks. There are some specialty stitches in it. But just the cat, the house, I don't know what animal is under the tree. It has looked like a combination of a pig and a camel. I don't know. Right down here. What is that? But this was, Hobby House put this together as a kit. And you had the option of, there were 2 patterns. This was what the exclusive was, and I think you had the option of getting the sampler. This is the base of that sampler. Oh, that animal's not on here. And there's the base. So it's Sweet Home, which I love that. And I opted to go ahead and get the chart too. They kitted it with Seraphim. Well, here it is. And here's same thing, Mary Jewel. So these little pin pillows and the sampler was taken from Mary Jewel, the sampler. So it's the bottom. I want to know what that animal is. I still can't tell. Looks like the Loch Ness Monster. I'm looking at the chart. I don't know. I don't know. And here's, it does. It looks like a combination of, I don't know, Loch Ness Monster. Look at those. Look at those colors. Oh. Look at that. Oh, so pretty. All right, I'm going to show you that sampler again. I'm not going to show you the chart, but maybe it's a deer with its legs stuck out. That, I think, is what it is. You see it? It's right there. Under the tree with a duck. I'm laughing because that kind of reminds me of my Sarah Milthrop. That basket isn't totally done. How about that? How about that? Oh, these colors are so pretty. Let me put all that back. So there's that, which I'm sure those will be available, and that is, let me tell you who it's from the Heart, Needle Art by Wendy. It's not available yet, but keep your eyes out because I'm sure it will be. This is by the Scarlet House in conjunction with Shakespeare's Peddler. It was an exclusive. It was a mystery because you didn't know what it was going to be. But now a lot of people have shown it. It's Mary Finley, but you can get it from Shakespeare's Peddler. I know they were moving. I don't know if they're back to shipping yet. Did I get it as a kit? Why are there 2 linens in here? Oh, I did not get it as a kit. These are the linens I'm thinking of using. So here it is. I did get the silk pack. And it calls for button box medium dark. But I opted for a little lighter linen. So these are the 2 I'm thinking about. This is Flannel Flower. I thought that looked pretty close. And then this one is Fortnite Fabrics Alfred. And I thought that also looked pretty close. So that's why there's 2 linens in there. I haven't decided yet. So I was gonna do a floss toss before I decided. So that's another one. So let's throw the silks on there and see which one. I almost said something about starting, but I'm not going to tell you that. And the last one, well, not the last one, but the last one I'm going to show you. This is Sarah Sanderson. This is one that is through the Homespun Facebook group, but I'm sure will be available next year. This is by the Scarlet House. I resisted getting this, and then I caved. And it is kitted with Valley Forge by Needle and Flax, and here's the colors. Oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. So, if I don't start this in September, I might, for sampler September, I might start it in October, because Sarah Sanderson from Hocus Pocus is not the stitcher who stitched this, obviously, because this is 1872, but it did remind me Sarah Sanderson, and I love that movie, so such a fun movie. So those are all of the things I was thinking about. I just have to move this so I can get to my starts. Thinking about what should I do? And you might ask, why do you have so many things kitted? Well, some of it goes back to teaching quilting and designing. You always had to have supplies because you never knew when you were going to be called on to design something, to work on something. and I don't know where this goes. That's a problem. I think it's here. I don't know. Okay, I'll fix that after. So you never know when you were going to be called on to design something, a magazine, a class, fabric line, and sometimes you had very limited time. I mean, very limited time. I remember getting one fabric collection literally a day and a half before I had to go to market. So I got a quilt top done. Could not get it quilted, obviously, but I think kitting things goes back to wanting to and needing to have the supplies. So when I needed to work on something, I could just do it. And I do that same thing with my stitching, because as you know, getting supplies can be difficult sometimes. So if I have so many things ready to go, then when the mood strikes, I can just go. So I think that's why. The supplies can be an issue, as you know. Not that you can't get it, it's just sometimes it takes time. So let's look at, what did I didn't want to show you that. What did I start? Well, you just saw one. There goes the surprise there. So this isn't even a sampler. Sometimes I just get in a mood and start. So I showed you this last time, and I think that's why I went ahead and started it. By the Primitive Hair, Rebecca Nurse. And in the comments last time, 1856 Brick House mentioned some information about Rebecca. And I did do some reading about her. And I know we have our ancestor. We have several ancestors from Salem. It was not around the time of the witch trial. Some of it was earlier, 1600s. But I'm drawn to that area, probably because we have so many ancestors in that area. So I went ahead and started her on glasses. I'm using DMC, and it is 35 count cocoa. So here's the DMC. Didn't even put it on floss drops, just started. I got quite a bit done, actually. Worked on it a couple of evenings. So I will probably work and finish, this is the plan, finish this in October. It just feels like, even though there's snow, it just feels like maybe New England, feels like fall. So that was one start, even though it wasn't a sampler, I was just drawn to work on it. So I did and got quite a bit done. Here's another one. 2 more starts, 3 more starts. I didn't realize I had that many. All right, I'm gonna save that. All right, I don't know where the box is. Okay, there it is. Too much stuff. What did I start from that basket? Well, I didn't show it to you because it's right here. Now I'm thinking, though, I might start one of those other ones. But this one really drew me in. This is Fanny Bromley, Hands Across the Sea. Look at this dear, sweet sampler. Oh, I just love how it looks. And this one, it's got 9 colors. 103. I went ahead and got the silks. I'm just looking to see if it's got any specialty stitches. Ah, no specialty stitches that I'm seeing. Well, here's the silks. And I was really drawn, look at that border, how unusual it is. Different, unusual. Oh, love this. So I got the upper right corner done. I love that border. It's pretty easy to get in a rhythm with. And I am doing this on, I got everything right here. James of the Needle, 40 count stained china. And I really do like this color. If I get back a little bit, it doesn't blow it out much. So that, this was in the basket. That's the one I started out of the basket. Although I'm looking at that Mary Jewel, I don't need to start anything else, but I might. So the other two starts that I had came from visiting an estate sale a week and a half ago, or maybe it's just a week ago. It was about 80 miles away, and somebody in one of the Facebook groups I'm in mentioned that one of their dear members had passed away this summer, and she was a member of the Embroidery Guild of America. She was a stitcher. She did embroidery. She did needlepoint. She did knitting. She was a quilter. She did all those things, but I think stitching was her true love, seeing her sale. It started at 8, and like I said, it's 80 or 90 miles from me, so I left before 6:30 to get there by 8, which I didn't make it, and I was there a little after 8. When I got there, cars were lined both sides of the road, and I thought, oh boy, there's a lot of people here already. And one bedroom was nothing but quilting. Her family, and I'm not going to say her name for privacy purposes, but her family had done a lovely job organizing everything, and she may have had it organized, but they had the one bedroom, all of the quilting supplies in there, and that may have been her sewing room where she sewed. Then I think it was the dining room. They put all of the needlepoint, canvases, wool, just all the things used for needlepoint in there. And then the entire huge living room and sunroom were dedicated to stitching. And when I walked in, there was a crowd around one table, and I think that was where the blackbird was, because when I got there, it was all gone. But there was plenty to see. And so I kind of went to the area where there weren't people and just kind of moved as a spot cleared. And I was there for about an hour and a half because I would go back to an area after people left. So I didn't want to push and get in the way, so I kind of went and looked. But I got quite a few things, which over time I will show you. But I started 2 things from her sale. Some things that I purchased were just charts. Some things were kitted. They had everything so well organized, and they did have one area on one table that were things that were started, and I did not purchase anything or go through that because many of her friends were there, and I wanted to leave that so they could get something from their friend. And I talked to several people, and one lady was sitting down on a step with a bin, and she was going through it, and I sat next to her, and I was going through another bin, and we were kind of joking about how we gonna get up off the floor. But she said that the stitcher was her friend, and she showed me one of the, I think it was Modern Folk Embroidery, one of the charts that were started. Beautiful stitching. So it was touching. It was exciting to go through things. It was sad. It was all the emotions, but I was able to talk with several of her friends. I did talk to her family, her 2 grown sons who were a little older than my kids. And of course, they knew nothing about stitching, and they just were kind of overwhelmed. And I assured them that all of us that were purchasing were going to love what we purchased, and they were happy to know it was going to people that would appreciate it. So I did meet several people that watch my FlossTube, Erica, and she mentioned, now let me back up. When I talked about the DAR Museum and the exhibit, she commented on that video, said, oh, if you ever come up to Washington, I'd love to go with you. Well, she was at this sale, and I said to her, you came all the way from Washington? And she said, no, she was visiting friends when they found out about the sale, and then she came over. But I want to say hi to Erica. It was so much fun to chat with you for a few minutes. And also Lucille, I think I have that name. It was a joy to talk with you as well. So thank you. It was really nice. So what did I start? I purchased quite a few charts and kits, but this one spoke to me. So I decided to go ahead and start it because it had almost all of the floss. I had to fill in a couple, and I did change the linen. Here's the floss. And here's the stitchers. It's hard not to get emotional. Her floss rings, which I loved it. She made them out of DMC box. So the ones that are my floss tags are there, but here are the colors. And what is it? Well, it is New England Sampler by Brenda Keys. And it is done on 25 count over 1. And there is linen in here, and I opted to use some linen that I had. So here's the linen that was in the kit. I'll use it for something else. But I decided to do Potato Lugana. And I'll show you the chart, because I started in the upper right corner. So you're going to see what looks like a birthday cake. It's actually the roof of the house. So let me show you. And I actually just pulled this right off my stand. So there it is. This is over 1. I think it's all DMC. So there'll be some little people under here, and then that's the roof of the house. So I did start that a couple days ago after going to that sale, and I went through everything, organized it, put everything in my Cross Stitch Plus app. There were more kits than I realized. So I pulled that and started it. And if you haven't done over 1 on Lugana, I love doing it. The Blackbird behind us, with The Winter Is Past, is done on over 1 on 25 count. And the other start that I had, let's see. Here's the New England list. There's quite a few. There's just some of my notes there, but I just made a copy of the DMCs so I could see what was in the kit when I needed to substitute, make a note about what size fabric I needed. The other start I had, totally unexpected. Did not think in a million years I would ever start something like this. And as soon as I saw the chart, I did purchase it, and pulled it out and looked at it and went, I gotta start this. I gotta start it right now. It was kitted with Gloriana. It's just one color. And this is Sumatra. So it has all the Gloriana. It had the linen. I had the chart. And this is why I had to start it. I was able to go to Indonesia twice, leading a couple of quilt cruises. And I just want to show you this picture, this painting that I bought while in Indonesia. I think this was in Bali. Always try to purchase from local artists. So we were somewhere, probably a street market, and purchased that and brought it home and framed it. And the other thing, you'll see what I'm doing in a minute, but you can see why it reminded me of these things. We went to a restaurant and I brought the bottle home, and this was either sparkling water or just, I can't read, it's in Indonesian. But can you see some of the motifs on here? Well, I brought this bottle home. And those two things reminded me, this chart reminded me of those things. I have other things that I purchased, but I wanted to show you that. This is by Ink Circles, and I love this chart. It's called Forests of Sumatra. It's an original sampler based on an ancient Indonesian motif. I'm gonna see if I could. There's one picture, and I bet I can't find it quickly. Let me see if I can. It's just a tiny piece of this motif. Ah, here it is. Okay. You see this? There's the tiny bit of that fragment. So here's the chart. I love it. There's it's by Ink Circles. Doesn't that look like the motifs on the bottle? And the colors from the painting? So it's done on linen. I mean, this lovely stitcher had everything ready to go. It's on 36 count sterling. Done with Belle Soie. And here's my start. Again, it's going to be the upper right corner. There it is. I don't know if you can see the variegation in the thread. It goes from blue to teal to green. Let me see if I can hold that up. So I started that, worked on it. I think I'm going to do this just like I did with Harriet Salt. Maybe one day I'll start with Harriet Salt and do a letter before I move into whatever I'm working on that day. And then another day I'll do a motif from this. There's the silk. So that just touched my heart, and I wanted to show you that and honor that stitcher. And as I told her family, because they were totally clueless why someone needed all those things, and all of us there knew exactly why we need all those things. And I offered my condolences and told them those of us that are purchasing are taking these home and we're going to love them. And I wanted to start those two things right away. So that's what I'm working on, I think. Let me check. I know we need to do the quilt giveaway. I think what I'm going to be doing in October, see if I can reach this without knocking everything over, probably finish Rebecca Nurse, because I don't have that much to go on her. And I think Houses of Hawk Run, I'll probably work on that in October. I'm going to pull out Shores and work on that in October. Here's what I have done so far. I haven't worked on this anymore since you saw it last, but I think I'll work on that in October. Probably work on some of these samplers too. This is another chart that I purchased at the sale. Map of Hawk Run Hollow. I didn't have that one, and I pulled out. It was kitted with the linen. Boy, it's really hard to talk about this, but I'm going to honor this stitcher. So the linen is 36 count Plum Street Blend, which is new to me. So there's the linen. It was not kitted with the DMC. No, it wasn't. So I pulled those and made floss rings. You see, I was all ready to go, and I thought, no, I'm not going to start this till October. So I think I'll do that. So that's ready to go. And this one I started last October, worked on it quite a bit. Then worked on it some, maybe February, I think. It is Americana Red. It's a good, I've taken it when I've traveled. It's a good travel one because it's just one color. Americana Red by October House. And I am doing it with Licorice Red. And I think it's Heartland linen. Which when I started it last year, I asked you all what you thought, because I thought it was too faint, because I started at the top. But when you get all the motifs that are denser, it looks fine. Doubloon, that's what it is, I think. I'll look it up. So I've got quite a bit done. I got that barn done, which took a while. So I think for sure I'll be working on that in October. I just want to check. Because the combination of the Licorice Red, it's 36 count doubloon. The Licorice Red with the doubloon really is pretty. Let's see. I know it's hard on screen to see, but I think that's pretty good. So, representation. So, I think it called for, what did it call for? It called for Creme Brulee by R&R and Licorice Red. Okay, Licorice Red. It was the linen that I couldn't get. So I did do doubloon. So I think I'll be working on those things. Did I cover all that? And then I've already pulled a couple things for November, which dark sampler November, black sampler November. I've seen both hashtags. Showed you this last time. I don't know what I'll start, but I'm looking at this. This is Georgiana Carolyn Williams. I don't have the linen or the floss pulled for that yet. But then there's also, from Just Stitching Along, Sarah Ann Fernley, 1826. I love this one too, which I showed you this last time. And thank you for those of you that commented about Splendor. Lots of positive comments about that. So I'm anxious to use that. And then the other one, which is already kitted with Tabby Cat Wood Smoke, is Ann Campion. I've seen a lot of people finishing this, which the Georgiana, these two are really good side by side if you're thinking of doing a little sampler wall of the darker samplers. So here's the 103, what color is that? 774. Here's the Wood Smoke. So that's going to be very striking. There's just a tiny pink. I don't know where. Don't know why there's the pink and the white. Don't know. I'm going to have to look at that a little bit more. So those I've pulled for November. Not sure where I'll go, because who knew I would go to that estate sale, because I only found out about it a couple days before it happened, and who knew I'd already start 2 things from there. So I don't know. So I think covered everything, and we're going to do the drawing for the quilts. So let me stop this and go get them. I'll be right back. All right, I'm holding up things because I have to put these all together, and that way I'll put them in the right order. We are going to draw for who has won beautiful quilts. We have this one, which I call a modern quilt. This is done with my Serendipity fabric line, and it was displayed at Quilt Market several times. So the person, and what you'll do is email me. I'll put the email in, my email in the drop-down box, or you can direct message me on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll also put those links in the description. So when you email me, give me your mailing address, full name, and mailing address, and we'll get these to you. So the person that one modern is Terry May. Terry, if you will email me, this is coming home to you. The second one we have is the French braid in the neutral colors. Oh, love this. Very striking. And this is going to Deborah Pinion Franson. So Deborah, email me, and that one's coming home to you. And the last one is the Celtic Star. Oh, I love this one. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I'm gonna take some pictures of this before I send it. Oh, it's pretty. This one, and someone may wonder, why are you giving these away? These, I have so many, and I'm slowly giving them to friends and family, but when you do a fabric line, you do many samples. And I also wanted to spread the love to some of you that join me here on FlossTube. So this Celtic Star is going to Alice Pogue. So Alice, if you will email me. I think that's it. I think it's a long one. I don't know. I did it in 2 or 3 or 4 segments. I've lost count, so hopefully it's not too long. I will not be back in October. We've just got a really, really busy October. So I won't be back in October, but I'll be back in November. Not sure when, but I will. And someone, and I tried to find the comment and I couldn't, but someone asked me to show them how I stitch. They just want to know how I do it. So I may do a separate little video of that and make that a separate video. And also in October is my 2-year anniversary, Flossiversary. I have been doing FlossTube 2 years. So in November, I may do a finished parade and a whip parade. I'm not sure yet. To celebrate that. Still kind of working that out, figuring that out. But I want to thank you for joining me. Your comments, your likes, your thumbs up, all of those things mean so much. Many of you subscribed. I want to thank you truly from the bottom of my heart. All of that means so much. I always look forward to filming, pulling things out to show you. And I thank you for the comments. So I think that's it. It is getting dark. Benji is here at my feet because he's hungry. It's time to eat. And so I'm going to go, and I will see you in November. If not, there'll be a little video about how I stitch sometime in October, and I might do something from Hobby House too. Not sure. We'll just wait to see. But until next time, everyone, thank you for joining me, and I want to wish you happy stitching.